For life.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Pro Wrestling Unscripted. I am the 5-star man, Asa Gray, and co-hosting with me tonight, because last night we had a great new show. I think it was called the F-Bomb, is what we ended up calling it. It was myself, Jesse Kimball, and Dalton. And we during that pre-show, we realized that the Big D just doesn't fit. It doesn't work. We're moving past it. It's fine. And instead, because apparently this is how we were referring to grown adults, I would like you to introduce everyone to Sadie's boyfriend, Dalton Anthony.
oh, you bitch. I like it.
I mean, yeah, that's just how we refer to adults now, is just, by who they're dating. So that's the important part.
But so speaking of me being Sadie's boyfriend, she did mention to me, because she watched Stomping Grounds up until she fell asleep. Mm-hmm. They didn't refer to Becky Lynch as Seth Rollins' girlfriend.
That was the first thing they mentioned. She is dating Seth Rollins.
But they didn't. I don't think they called her. I'll have to go back and listen.
I mean, they may not have used the exact verbiage.
Which good on WWE-ish.
But literally the first thing that they mentioned about a former unified women's champion and the current Raw women's champion is that she's dating Seth Rollins.
One of the first women to headline WrestleMania. Yeah, she's also dating a boy.
Yeah, which granted, it actually played into storyline, but we'll get to that in a little bit. We got some stuff that we're going to get through first.
I like that though. I was wondering where that was going to go.
It is a two-man show tonight. Shannon and Allie have the night off. They are currently still going through the move from hell.
I'm about to say, they have the night off. Quote unquote.
Oh yeah, no, they I would much rather be doing this than what they have to deal with.
Word.
So, but hopefully it looks like it's coming to an end. I do not know the status of the Thursday show, if they're gonna do that or not. But stay tuned. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
it'll be fine. Everything will be fine. So thank you everyone for joining us here tonight as we go through the news and notes of the week in the world of professional wrestling. It has been a pretty slow week news-wise, but there's a lot to talk about coming out of between Raw, SmackDown, what's coming up in Fyter Fest. We had CCW this last weekend. It's going to be it'll be a good one. So to start things off, this is literally how I have it titled in our news docket, and I almost didn't even want to mention it, but at this point there is literally no getting around it at all.
Yeah.
So stupid, dumbass Twitter BS.
Okay.
If you are a wrestling fan and you are online and you follow even one professional wrestler
with a check
at this point, especially if they have that verified check mark, you have not been able to escape all of the BS being thrown around by grown adults who are behaving just like children.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the dick measuring contest of
the year, the century,
which was bad because we just got over Cornette. And his Double or Nothing stuff. And I was super happy that ship had done sailed. The SS Anne was gone. I was ready to catch some new Pokemon. And then insert stupid Twitter BS.
I'm genuinely surprised that I think I might have Cornette muted on Twitter. I'm not sure. But I'm surprised I didn't see anything from him. But like I said, if he has weighed in, he just may not have.
I think I follow him just for this show.
But it doesn't matter what he has to say because it all started with Seth Rollins tweeting out something to the effect of the best wrestling on the planet happens at WWE. Someone called him out on that statement and he said that there's no one alive that does what he does at the rate that he does it at the level that he does it. And what seems innocent enough, Will Ospreay then just tweets, "Well, I'm alive." And then Seth Rollins proceeds to totally talk down to him. And it devolved from there of WWE defend, Seth just trying to defend WWE because that's where he works. And then he turns out he took some pretty unnecessary shots at Jon Moxley. And then he it's just, why? None of this is necessary. You're grown adults. I don't get it. And it's like I said, I didn't even want to mention it on the show because this isn't the kind of new Twitter beef. Isn't stuff that we typically talk about.
Unless it's Mia Yim if it's Mia Yim and Shelton Benjamin, it's adorable, it's cute because they're friends.
Anyone, Stokely Hathaway and anyone.
Yeah, he had a really good Instagram post where Dakota Kai was lip singing a song, and he just looked at her
and
like he
he's
was
just
gonna...
staring. Yeah, he's a treasure.
He is,
him.
yeah. It's one of those, like, I'm not defending... I'll defend Ospreay because like, his was innocent enough. If anything, he was just giving us a wellness check. Because, like, I watch his matches a lot. I worry about that boy.
Yeah, there's a chance that, you know, he may not... Like, that is a necessary update.
Yeah, he might have, like, accidentally replied to Seth Rollins just making a general tweet. But, like... All right, Seth Rollins saying best wrestling in the world. All right, cool. Like, you work for that company. You are that company. Like, you have been actively pushed the entire time you've been at that company. Like, there was not a single point in your WWE main roster career where you were not a focal point. Like,
and also, like, you know, look at the things that he hasn't had to, like, as far as we know, granted, because again, this is all backstage stuff. We are not privy to it. We kind of have to take Jon Moxley at his word because, like, it seems like Seth never really had any of the weird, unnecessary stuff, like, you know, getting vaccinated and talking about Roman Reigns' actual honest to God leukemia.
All right,
like,
well, that was ridiculous. But, like, Seth also did have, like, if you remember his heel run, like, he did, like, brand new Apple Watches and, like, trip to Hawaii and stuff like that.
I mean,
so he had goofy stuff, but at least, like...
But it fit his character, at least. Like, he was, like, the chicken shit heel.
Yeah.
Like, which is a trope. Ambrose, they're like, I rode backwards on a unicycle to get here. Like, that's not a thing people do.
Yeah.
And also, like, you know, some of the criticism that he's like, oh, it's not fair that you would then, you know, bash the company that gave you everything. Literally, the first thing he does on Jericho's podcast and on Keller's podcast, I'm pretty sure, is say, I am grateful for my time there. I understand that, like, my career would not be what it is if it wasn't for WWE and the opportunities they afforded me. But here's the frustrating part about dealing with that. And then he goes into his, like, what seem like valid and fair criticisms. Like, he didn't do a CM Punk.
Yeah, he didn't
where he just buried the entire company.
Like, he didn't say people were unsafe workers or, like, stuff like that Punk did.
Right. He strictly talked about the creative process and how WWE works at that level. And again, like, seemingly valid criticisms that came from it. But like for Seth Rollins to say things like, you know, maybe you should have worked harder. Maybe you should have looked at yourself in the mirror. Did you do everything you could have? And it's like, he told stories about, like, before he was cleared, he flew and talked to Vince and, like, was constantly rewriting his scripts to the best that he was, like,
and then
allowed.
told not to rewrite his scripts.
Yeah. So I don't know that left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths on top of the whole, just like outright, like, insulting to other people. And then he did the thing where he's like, oh, well, my bank account's bigger, which in my opinion is where you immediately lose any sort of standing that you might have had.
Yeah, because, like, if you talk about, like, all right, his first sentence or his first tweet, WWE has the best wrestling in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. Seth Rollins is not the best wrestler in the world because his name isn't Kazuchika Okada. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm hard pressed to find a better right now. Not saying that he's not in top 5, but he's not Okada. And
also just look at the matches, some of the matches that, like, WWE puts on. I am not going to sit here and try to say that, like, WWE is terrible at, you know, putting on matches, but, like, there's a very specific style that they follow.
Yeah.
Especially with, like, one of the stories coming up where now, especially on, like, their weekly shows, you know, look at every criticism that WWE has right now, like the majority of them. Like, someone's going to complain about every single aspect. But for the most part, match quality isn't one of the criticisms.
No.
Like, people are saying, wow, that was really good. Now imagine how much better it could have been if the story was better. Like, that's what you're getting.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Because, like, and again, like, if you're going to, like, match quality, New Japan, AEW, go, like,
NXT even.
Yeah, match of the year right now for me is still Cody versus Dustin.
Right.
Until I go back and watch something from New Japan that I was like, oh, balls, that was a thing.
Right.
But, like...
Or even, I mean, and to their credit, like, Gargano verson Cole at the last TakeOver. That, like, that one is probably, like, I'm probably giving it to Cody Dustin as well. But, like, that match was incredible. But, you know, it's not fair to say that that's not WWE because clearly NXT is WWE.
Yeah.
Like, we all know that. But it's just like, you don't get that caliber of match, especially on, like, Raw and SmackDown where now they're doing the, you know, 2 out of 3 falls thing. And, you're defending your company. You are there. You are the guy now. You are the Universal Champion. You are the poster boy. They seem to have, you know,
You're front and center on all those Walmart shirts that for some reason WWE sells.
Yeah.
Like that's not seen anymore. That's you.
And
Seen is off to the right now.
Right. And that's fine. Like, okay, put over your company. Cool. That's all that's really necessary. But when someone comes at you because you have to know that someone is going to it's the internet, you're going to get actually, and it just turns out that, it was Ospreay. And you didn't there's no need to engage, period. You don't need to get into this pissing match.
Because you're punching down at that point, and when you punch down, you're the one that looks like the asshole at the end of the day.
Yeah, and then you have journalists and people be like, hey, this isn't really the way to go about it. Your character is the face of the company. Why are you acting you shouldn't be acting like a douchey heel on social media? Which the only positive thing to come out of all of this nonsense is Becky Lynch's tweet of drama on Twitter. What is the world coming to?
Yeah,
because that's her whole shtick.
I missed it whenever Biggie was just trying to pork her mom. That was the best.
That was. I mean, and really, we should have seen this coming because Twitter clearly peaked there.
Yeah, that was the rise, and now we're in the fall.
Now we're in the deepest of valleys. Something that kind of ties into this, because like I said, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. Another news story is that it was announced today that Evolve's 10th anniversary show is going to stream live on the WWE Network, which is crazy. That's going to be on July 13th.
That date sounds familiar.
I'm getting there. This is the first. There's been rumors for years that Evolve was going to start having stuff on the network. Progress, I think, as well as another company that was going to start having stuff on the network.
Evolve has kind of been one of the it's the worst kept secrets in wrestling. They're one of the feeder systems.
Yeah, it's NXT's NXT.
Yeah,
kind of. And so, but it's their 10th anniversary show. It's a huge show. They've already announced it's going to be Matt Riddle versus Drew Gulak. Non-title match. Adam Cole defending the NXT championship against Tozawa. Kurt Stallion's going to be on that show.
I just got way more excited about this whole situation.
That's actually really cool. Also, if I'm reading it correctly, and this may have been rumors and it may not be confirmed yet, this may just be what they were planning for. Apparently, Eddie Kingston is also going to be on the show. So yeah,
no.
Hearing,
I wonder how that's going to work.
Just the phrase Eddie Kingston to appear on WWE Network.
Chad Smart got really happy. I know he don't listen to this show, but Chad Smart just got really happy. Hey, Kevin, give me the update on that.
Let us know.
Now that you can listen to us at normal hours.
But that said, so of course, July 13th is also the day that AEW is putting on their Fight for the Fallen, which, on the one hand, Evolve has had this date, I'm sure, set in stone forever now.
Yeah.
That's not new. What's new is WWE deciding this is going to be the one that we broadcast on the network.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, you wanted competition. We want to see competition between WWE. We want AEW to be competition to WWE. We want that because that means they're going to step up their game, hopefully. And competition is just better all around.
Yeah.
That said, AEW cannot be competition to WWE if WWE doesn't treat them like competition. So of course they're going to, you got an event coming up. We got an event too.
But we don't.
This is
we do.
This is the NXT UK is going to be on is the same day as the New Japan show, is the same day as All Out. Mm-hmm. There's a precedent for this. On the other hand, this is the show that is the fundraiser show for the victims of gun violence that AEW is putting out. To tie this into the Twitter drama, Kenny Omega tweets out, and I want to get this word for word because it's pretty vicious. I don't think it's entirely on point. I think he has a good general point, but I think it's not... I don't know, it's not as good as he probably wants it to be. Kenny Omega tweeted and has since deleted, "If lining your pockets with blood money is okay, then what's wrong with trying to undermine a charity show for victims of gun violence? I hear that healthy competition is supposed to be a good thing, and yet I can't help but feel like I'm gonna be sick." And like I said, if you're gonna be competition, they're gonna be competition. Is it kind of a dick move that they're putting this up against the benefit show for victims of gun violence? Sure. Is AEW's hands clean when it comes with his line about blood money? Not particularly. It's pretty well known that Tony Khan has ties to the Saudi government, or not Saudi government, but there are business dealings within the Khan hierarchy that deal with Saudi money. Chris Jericho appeared at one of those Saudi shows. himself. You know,
Oh yeah, he did the greatest Royal Rumble. Yeah,
and he's with AEW. Like, and was supposed to have that match with Undertaker, but then ended up in the Royal Rumble,
the greatest Royal Rumble,
Royal Rumble. So
I need to put respect on it next time.
It's one of those things where it's like there's no real clear cut. It's not as black and white as you might think. No. And like I said, he has since deleted that tweet and talked about like he's like I said my peace of mind and that opened up a very toxic environment. So I'm just gonna kind of step away.
And it's one of those like if it would have been like WWE presents the Crown Jewel 3 on that day. Yes.
Yeah, that would have been.
But it's also one of those being like, I mean, there's been a lot of Evolve shows like Ono's wrestled at Evolve.
Oh yeah, they've been like Street Profits were there like
fairly recently and this is again the worst kept secret in wrestling where this is a feeder system to NXT. And for some reason you just now decide to air their show on the network.
And that's what I'm saying is it's like, you know, that I'm sure that date has been set in stone. Like they've known that's when that show was going to be. But yeah, this is and again, in fairness, we have talked about this, that it's going to be, this is something that's been in the works for a long time. It's been rumored for a very long time.
Yeah.
That we were going to start getting, granted, we thought it might have been like backlog. It might have been, you know, maybe not necessarily streaming like this live, because that's huge.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't for the date, like this would be a huge news story on its own. That's just like it's now just being overshadowed by, again, all of this Twitter drama that's been going on.
Mm-hmm. So, and it's just a shame because like I went to enjoy wrestling to where like now I'm like have to realize that these guys are now just being a-holes to each other, which like Ospreay isn't even an AEW wrestler. He wasn't on All In.
No.
Or he wasn't at All In. He wasn't at Double or Nothing. He's just a New Japan guy.
Yeah, well, that's why like, and even it's because the Rollins thing I think is less directly targeted to AEW as much as just like a general statement for AEW, New Japan, ROH.
It was a shot for everybody.
Yeah, it was just a shot. It was a shot for shot's sake.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where now, yeah, it's like there are people who are saying it's like, no, Rollins knows exactly what he's doing. You know, if he makes these comments about Moxley now, that drums up interest if they eventually wrestle each other again.
Which it could.
Like, I mean, yeah, it's possible, but I don't know how carny Rollins is. Like, could this be like planting the seeds of like him not re-signing?
He was
potentially, but like I don't really see that.
I don't either, but he's also like
that said,
like mid to late 2000s indie wrestler, where they were all carny anyway because you had to be carny.
Yeah.
So like you say it and I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense, but I'm literally only saying kind of makes sense.
Well, and also it's that thing where he is a former indie wrestler. Like he knows what it's like to go out there and not get the recognition that you know you deserve.
Yeah.
And like working for these companies that you know should have a better audience than what they do. Even how great their audience is, it's like, oh no, like the world should be seeing this. So I don't know. It's a bummer thing. I like all of it has made me not even want to open Twitter. I don't follow Seth Rollins on Twitter, but so many of his tweets have been liked and like retweeted and stuff by people that I do follow that I feel like I haven't missed a single thing he's put out because of the Twitter algorithm, which I hate.
I'm on enough really shitty Facebook groups where I've seen all of it.
And it's that, okay, so like real quick, I honestly did not know that I wasn't following James Brady until literally like I went to DM him about like, hey, we're going to talk about your match on CCW Live, because so many people like I follow Savannah, I follow Tootie,
and they'll retweet
Cape Wrestling,
and share.
like they retweet his stuff and like they like his stuff. So I see him on my timeline so much, I didn't realize I wasn't following him.
Yeah,
because that's just how Twitter is that broken. Whereas like someone tweeted something that I do follow and I didn't see it for like 3 days, and it was like, oh, that would have been cool to know. Like I think it was like a Wario 64 deal. Or something like that, where it's like, no, I follow him. I should be seeing his stuff. Why am I seeing? I don't care that like, hey, did you know that 3 people you follow also follow this person? Here's one of their random tweets. Old man yells at cloud. I understand. That was a tangent. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I mean,
other new stuff.
I'm happy to get past it.
Other new stuff.
What we got next?
Be better to each other online. Like that's just be better to each other online. Next news story is a little bit late breaking. Don't have as many details yet. But Mike Johnson from PWInsider.com is reporting that CM Punk is issuing a lawsuit against Colt Cabana. If that sounds familiar, we're flipping it. because
It was Cabana suing Punk the first time.
Cabana sued Punk. That got thrown out or dismissed, so he refiled. I don't think that one has quite been set yet, or if that one's been settled yet or not. That's based on the seeming what Cabana believed to be a verbal agreement between CM Punk and himself about CM Punk handling the legal fees from the Dr. Amann lawsuit. Now, Punk is suing Cabana for $600,000. Colt Cabana was looking for $200,000 initially.
Well, that's a...
Punk is looking, and he is... The argument that Punk has is that Cabana used high-quality professional legal defense. Punk has already spent $1.2 million on legal fees between the Amann lawsuit and now the Cabana lawsuit. And Colt spent $0 for the legal fees for the Amann lawsuit, at least. Also, he believes that he is one of the. I don't know if this is the damage part of the damages he's seeking, or if it's just like an extra little prod of like, hey, he's been profiting off of me in a way that maybe he shouldn't have. He mentions that he mentioned the money that Colt makes off of his Art of Wrestling podcast, and how I forget the time frame, but it was like within like 24 hours or something like that. 1.5 million listens and downloads for the episode that Punk appeared on.
It broke his podcast for a week.
It broke his podcast for a week. Because of how popular it was.
Yeah.
And it is the biggest podcast that he's ever put out, and he receives money from advertisers and sponsors from it. And Punk mentions that he did not receive any compensation for the podcast, which I think is a little on the douchier side, especially if it's a thing that you never agreed that if you did the podcast and there wasn't like an agreement, like, hey, give me a kickback of whatever you earn on this. Or if it was just like, hey, I want to air my dirty laundry. Let me come on your show.
You have a platform. One of those things like, let's say I make it, WWE's a little bit different situation, but I become if one of us, like Shannon and me, you like become a big name in wrestling. If we come back and do PWU, it's not a money thing at that point, and it shouldn't be. Right.
Especially because, that's a very different situation. Like, let's assume Podzilla blows up. We've got sponsors, we've got ad reads. Yeah. We are finally making money from this.
But let's say that I'm working for...
You go and start working...
Some big upstart wrestling promotion that has money to throw, and they say, Dalton, we are going to pay PZ85 to do a show just about our episode, and you're going to be there. So here's your cut for being our representative, and here's their cut. I have made my money for that. But that's a business transaction. That's a business transaction. This is literally this is a podcast that...
This was two friends like, hey...
Punk doesn't own.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the gross part of it.
Well, but like I said, the argument, of course, is that Cabana did profit off of the Punk appearance. Which, again, I don't think that's really... And that's why I don't think he's actually, that's part of what the damages that he's looking for. Because the $600,000 are... damages that he's accrued plus interest over time as allowed by the Illinois whatever, the law allows.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that's more of just hey, not only did I pay for his lawyers and all of his law team, but he also made all of this extra money off of me, essentially, which you had to have known was going to happen when you agreed to do the show. But I really
hope that's just an aside of being like, I have helped him out so much, and I've gotten nothing from it.
And then he turns around and tries to sue me, even though I tried, So, honestly, but it sucks. It's a shitty situation. I don't like seeing friends like this. That friendship totally fall apart. I know there's all the rumors and stories about CM Punk and how he is with people that he feels, wronged him or crossed him. But they had such a cool, from what we've seen, publicly, other podcast appearances they've done, and just the relationship that they showed before all of this happened. Mm-hmm. It's just a bummer that this is how it turns out.
I recently watched the Best in the World because it was at Fandom Corner.
Yeah.
It was the Blu-ray was there for $4 used. So I bought it and I watched it, and it's really hard. It does not age well.
No, yeah.
Even if you're just like, oh yeah, he walked out of the company, and then you see Colt Cabana talking on it, and you're like, oh no. Mm-hmm. It's just it's a bummer.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll keep updated on that. Like I said, I think that just came out earlier today. So not a
Yeah,
whole,
that was something I didn't even know
that's
about.
like the most detail that I've seen on it. And if we get any follow-up, if there's any big breaks, we will of course cover that in the weeks to come. Next up, today DDP Yoga put out a video that was it was a interview and video. It was about 6-7 minutes long about Big Cass XL, as he's known now, and it details his falling out of WWE, his depression, his anxiety, his struggles with addiction, and if you remember his House of Hardcore appearance when he had the seizure in the ring, he goes into that, and it's a really good watch. He refreshingly takes all responsibility of like what happened with him. He knows that he screwed up. It was because of his depression and anxiety. And it's because, we talk a lot about on Podzilla, how important mental health is and how, there is a stigma around it. And, pretty much all of us at the podcast have suffered with some sort of mental health issue, be it like depression, anxiety, and not just, being down in the dumps for a while, but like legitimate, like, panic attacks and anxiety attacks and just, being down on yourselves and self-doubt and things like that. So it hit very close to home. I know I myself have been very, very critical of Big Cass.
And it's one
even
of those...
in his fight, like before him and Enzo even broke up as a tag team. Like I've been pretty critical of him, and it's one of those things where it's like, man, I was probably kind of a dick. Like I like to think that in the last couple years I have very much softened my stance on a lot of things. And like I think I even kind of pointed out that like his feud with Daniel Bryan, like he improved quite a bit. Like you could see the improvements that were being made as a solo guy when he clearly wasn't like expecting to do something like that. But it's one of those things where it's like, man, it's so easy to forget that these are human beings. We're so used to seeing the larger than life character. We're so used to seeing, the character. We see 6 minutes of their time. We see 6 minutes of them once a week. And we think we know these people and we understand these people.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's easy to forget that no, we don't know shit. And it like, I loved this video. It was very, very touching. It was very, very, powerful. And honestly, kind of, like I said, refreshing to see him be like, no, I messed up. This is what I'm dealing with. This is how poorly I handled it. And more importantly, these are now the steps that I'm taking to get on the right path.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of those like, and he doesn't make a call for it, but I kind of want to, of like, WWE needs to do a better job of looking for that. Like, granted, you're a multi-million-dollar corporation. You have thousands of people on payroll between production, writers, road people. Like, you have such a big company, but at the end of the day, you are running these people like to almost death. Yeah. And honestly, like, being in the locker rooms I've been, it's a very common thing of like wrestlers as a whole, not like the most,
not the most stable bunch.
Well, stable is a word for it, but like even like self-deprecating almost to an unhealthy like point.
Yeah.
Cause like you've watched me where I've probably you've even told me like that wasn't bad.
Right.
And then I'm like, no, it was,
oh yeah, you just shit on yourself.
Shits. It was horrible. And like, and that's not my job.
Right.
That's what these guys do. And if you have a job like that where you're constantly, this is this, and then in that part in the video where somebody just comes up to him that doesn't know him
it's like,
and says, you are deeply depressed. Wrestling as a whole, and I guess not just WWE, this is everybody. AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, any place that has wrestling. Mm-hmm. We need to look out for our own. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, no one person is going to do you do your company any favors or do themselves any favors if they are deeply depressed and hurting themselves to this physical level. Because I don't wrestle 5 times a week like he did. Right. I don't have a lot of really like depression issues. Like, in fairness, like it's something I've never really had to deal with, fortunately. But I couldn't imagine that by itself and then also wrestling on top of it, to where like your mind is mentally beaten down and then your body is equally being beaten down. And it's just a horrible thing. Like the part where he was saying I was waking up hoping that I wasn't. Yeah. Like that shit, like
And he's like, I don't understand. Why am I thinking that?
Yeah, because he's like, I've got to do everything I've ever wanted to do in life. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't okay up top, and it wasn't. That's how bad it was. Where it didn't matter that he literally had everything he ever wanted. It wasn't. He wasn't okay, and we need to be looking for that. Like, yeah. It's a very dog eat dog world in wrestling, but we have to look out for each other.
And I will say too, like, to expand that, like, not just like to like, because I know there are wrestlers who listen to this, like, and listen to us, but it's not just that. It is, within your friend group. It is just look out for each other in general, because you don't know what people are dealing with day to day. You don't know what energy someone is bringing. You don't know what people are thinking or feeling. Earlier this week, it's the really sad story of that YouTuber. Who committed suicide, Etika, I think was his name.
I couldn't tell you, but I've seen it, but I don't know who he was.
And so it's just like, it's the world is hard enough as it is. There's no reason to make it any harder for anybody else.
Yeah.
So just, look out for each other, take care of each other. And I want to give him props because he was very, very candid. He was very, very open and honest. And it takes things like this to really reduce the stigma of mental illness.
Yeah. And fortunately, we're talking very somber about this. The best thing about this is, as of right now, this is a work in progress good story.
Oh yeah, no, it has
involving this.
Ultimately, like for where we're at, it has a happy ending. It ends with him, training. It ends with him talking about how he's he's living a clean and healthy lifestyle. Yeah. He's that guy that told him that you were deeply depressed. He's working with him and stuff. I don't know if he's still living with him or not.
But he went there.
Yeah. But he went, I genuinely, it was one of those things where he's like, I don't know this guy from Adam. Because it was on DDP Yoga, I was like, wait, was it DDP? Also, how do you not know DDP from Adam?
Yeah.
But then it turned out, but it wasn't him. Like, it was another guy.
Yeah.
Which also, shout out to DDP Yoga for not only, hosting this video, but, they put his, information up there.
DDP does, and this is just a fun sidebar, because this is kind of like a somber story, but not really kind of good, but, it has that both sides of it. Mm-hmm. DDP does a Motivational Monday, where there's a quote. Do you want to know where he gets a lot of his quotes from? Mm-mm. He'll text Glacier.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because they're buddies. So he's just because Glacier is a goddamn wealth of motivational quotes. Trust me, I can show you the folder he gave us for the seminar. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, so DDP will call me Sunday night being like, hey, I have Motivation Monday coming up tomorrow. I don't have anything. Do you have something for me? Because he was a teacher too. So of course, just has stuff off the top of his head. Right. But a lot of his Motivational Monday comes from Ray.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's one of the downsides of doing commentary is I don't get to be backstage and hanging out with these people. So I get to briefly meet people before the show, and if they stick around after the show, I get to talk to them maybe a little bit. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I'm just at the table all night.
As cool as getting to talk to Brian Pillman Jr. About Kingdom Hearts and Ethan Page about talking about Marvel Legends, still my favorite interaction was with him.
Yeah.
Of people Marco is my that's always gonna be the one that's my human. But
I'm talking special I'm talking just guests, not people that we see every month.
Yeah, but Glacier was a special kind of cool.
That's awesome. Which in like you said, this as of now is a happy ending, and best of luck to Cass in continuing to better himself. So it's just awesome to see. We got that the AEW women's title will be unveiled at All Out. So that's the show that's going to take place August 31st.
Yep.
That's just a neat little sidebar that got announced.
I'm happy they're getting one. They already have if they have the 4 women that were in that match, and then you keep adding, that women's roster is going to be good. Which if you want to be competition,
it has to be.
You have Becky Lynch.
Yeah, you cannot. You need to come prepared if you're gonna step to the WWE Women's Division right now.
Yeah.
So that's just a neat little thing. So we know there's the tag title tournament happening once the TV show airs. Who do you
think? Sorry for interrupting you. Who do you think unveils that belt? Because I have an idea.
Medusa.
Yup. Because she's gonna be at StarCast.
Oh, is she?
Yep,
I just picked Medusa because of the trash can thing.
Oh, balls.
Yeah.
She wouldn't do that.
She's in the Hall of Fame though now, isn't she?
Yeah. Oh, she throws the ring in the trash.
I don't think we're gonna go that far. I do think that they are going to try to get a name.
Medusa would be a good one.
Medusa would be a good one. I would bet money that they have reached out to Trish Stratus, to Lita, to any of them.
Nikki
Beth
Bella.
Phoenix, that would be that. She'd probably be one that I don't think they would have reached out to. Although speaking of Nikki Bella, we'll just jump down to that one. On a interview, she confirmed that due to injuries, she has been forced into retirement. She has a cyst on her brain, apparently, and she also has another herniated disc.
Oh, balls! I just knew it was I knew the cyst on the brain, but I didn't know the other herniated disc.
It's the hernia. It's the disc above the one that she previously had herniated.
Oh, that sucks.
So yeah, not a good situation. I've never personally been a huge fan of the Bellas, but I can't say that it wouldn't be at least like a huge boon to have them have a match for the women's tag team championship. Because I mean that thing's tailor made for them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to preface this by this is probably the worst thing I will say tonight, and I am 100% deserving of any shit that I get for saying this. I cannot help, because this was on a talk show and they have renewed Total Bellas for another season. I can't help but have that one twinge of, because wrestling has conditioned to me to think never say never.
How many times has Terry Funk retired?
How many times has Bully Ray retired?
Yeah.
Like, how is this legit? And again, I know that's a shitty if this is legit 100%, it's a shitty thing to think and it's a shitty thing to put out there. And I'm going to apologize, but it's that gut reaction that I have of like, am I being worked? Like, you're all a bunch of carnies, so you can't really blame me.
Yeah,
but
and it's one of those, like, I'm not gonna say I hope it's an actual retirement, because like I really don't want somebody to have another herniated disc and a cyst on their brain.
Yeah,
like if this is the case, I hope, and this is how I'm gonna say it, I hope they caught every injury on time.
Yes.
To where she gets to live a very fulfilling life post wrestling.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, and if this is legit, of course, I hope the absolute best for her. We're not someone who is going to celebrate an injury.
Dude, there's
or celebrate
been so
getting
many
hurt.
Fuck faces on Facebook,
because
being like, "Oh, you mean not dating John Cena anymore?" This is an actual human with legit injuries.
Exactly, and I kind of take a little bit of solace in knowing that like mine is just a gut reaction from being worked so many times.
Yeah,
because we eulogized Bully Ray's career, I think, very sweetly. And then, like, literally, like, a month later...
And then he starts kicking people out of Ring of Honor shows, and we're like, oh,
not even that.
I know.
The Flip Gordon stuff started. So, again, it's like, I'm just trying to protect myself because I'm a sensitive little flower.
You're being
that
serious.
That said, like, I at least recognize that my take is not great. Whereas some of those people like take pride in the fact that they hit enter after saying, oh, you're done sucking off Johnson. Get out of here.
Actually, Nikki Bella, which I was never a huge fan of, she is the reason I stopped being on 2 Facebook groups this week because of that bullshit.
Really?
Because I was like, I don't need this, and it could be like I'm getting older, and like I'm a human.
The older you get, the more empathetic you get.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like that person was a wrestler at the top of the level of wrestling.
Right.
Like, I don't want to know how much damage they did to their, actual damage they did to their body. I'm not going to be an asshole about it.
Yeah. And that's, like I said, that's kind of where I landed too, of just like, I'm not going to be a dick about it. Part of me didn't even want to mention that. I was just going to keep that to myself. Yeah. But in the interest of, like, transparency for what the show is. Like,
yeah, but if it's 100% legit, which, like... Okay, if it is, happy retirement.
Likely is. Like, I am going to treat this as legitimate until I have actual proof otherwise. Until a match is announced.
And then we can be like, ah!
And even then, I'll see how much she actually does. Or if she lets, pre-work the rest, then she doesn't actually take any bumps. So, I don't know. But yeah, so enjoy the retirement. Well-deserved. Well earned. The
second longest reigning Divas champion, I think.
For anything you want to say about the Bellas, you can't admit that they did at least keep an interest in the women's division when it was at its lowest point. They lent something unique to it when it was just the women were being treated like shit on the show.
Yeah, and not even the sexist shit. They just weren't featured.
Yeah, exactly. And at the worst, it was the very sexist shit. And then, but at best, they were just still only getting 45-second match, bathroom breaks.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's one of those, it's a bummer that, Becky Lynch didn't main event Evolution. But,
yeah, I mean,
Nikki main eventing it didn't leave a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
Where it was just she deserves it.
I get it.
Yeah,
I'm sure I talk shit on it, whenever it was announced and stuff, but, it...
Again, we're getting older.
Yeah, retroactively, it's, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to save that one for later. Speaking of injury, Lars Sullivan, Meltzer's reporting, is going to be out with a knee injury for 6 to 8 months.
This one made me leave another group.
Really?
I don't like when somebody's just yeah, fuck him. I'm happy his knee blew out. Hopefully he stays out longer. I hate that.
Yeah, like I mean that's just not a good energy to put out there. Especially when you actually look at, because again we talked about the stuff that he said, like that's not even like that's not a debate. He said what he said, and he posted what he posted. It's the follow up of how is he making amends? How is he trying to better himself as a person? From Titus O'Neil, and
that's the only person I need. By the way, if he's the one that's saying no, he's trying, be like, okay, benefit of the doubt, right there.
Yeah, like that is a good step, and that is a good person to, because I very much get the feeling that he would not just say that.
Yeah, like if it was him or Big E, I'd be like, all right, well, it sounds like we're off to the races.
So and especially with the stories of like his time at NXT is what really kind of opened his eyes and was like, oh, I've been so very wrong. Yeah, because of being around that diverse of a group of people. So I don't know. I mean, you don't want to see the person get hurt. Think what you want about the person, but again, like I don't celebrate this. We don't. I'm
not happy that he's
we don't think this is great news. Say what you will about karma, whatever. But
I mean, if you believe in all that, he might have had some shit coming back. But
I mean, he's also kind of had some already, like between the the anxiety attacks, which going all the way back to the Big Cass stuff, like WWE, to their credit, like if that is what sidelined him leading up to a huge story with Cena at WrestleMania, like they recognize, like, okay, no, we have to treat this legitimately and seriously, and they gave him the time off. And like it seemed like it didn't affect his push at all.
No, he was still killing people
because he came back just like as a monster. So
killing little luchadors.
We'll see. Now it's almost the stigma of being a racist is past, and now it's going to be the stigma of, is he injury prone? Is he reliable? Is this actual injury going to be what derails him farther down the line? And you laugh, but that's legitimate.
It's just the thought of like, no, being racist didn't stop his push. It was his name.
Wrestling's weird, man. WWE is a weird fucking place.
I recently watched the John Oliver thing again recently.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's just wrestling is better than anything you like.
Wrestling is better than your favorite thing. You know more about this one, so I'm going to let you do some of the heavy lifting. Bruce Pritchard from Something to Wrestle With and is now back working with WWE.
He was Vince's right-hand man for like 20 years.
Yeah. He underwent emergency surgery, had 6 teeth removed, and had to have his sinuses drilled into.
From what Conrad Thompson on all of his podcasts said, he had what the dentist described as the most rotted tooth in the world that he's ever seen pulled out of his face.
Okay, so here's the thing. Dental injuries are no.
Yeah, no.
You can legitimately die from a broken tooth.
Yeah.
Because the teeth, it's a bone, and there are nerves in those bones. And if a tooth breaks and it gets infected, that infection can get into your bloodstream and go into your heart.
Yeah.
And it can spread like in your mouth as well, very, very easily. I have an uncle who's a dentist, and like he is. Like,
I never knew that.
Yeah, he like I'll tell you more later, but he's a dentist out in the DC area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is like the Jay-Z of dentists.
It's my dad's sister's husband.
Okay, I'm there.
So he
okay, yeah. I'm sorry, my brain took a second. Yeah. I'm there.
So I know all about like dental health because I broke a tooth in college and it got infected. And the dentist that I went to, I went in on Friday because the pain got so unbearable that I was like, okay, I have to have something done. I go in, he looks at it, and he's like, yep, that's super infected. I went in on a Friday. This is a dentist's office, so it's Monday through Friday are their hours. Oh, this is real bad. Come in tomorrow, and I will remove that.
Yeah.
He came in on his day off to cut this tooth out of my head because of how bad it was.
HIPAA laws, baby.
Yeah, it's like, so I don't remember his name, but like shout out to him, but because it was miserable.
Dentist, good dude.
Yeah, so
that's his name for right now. DDS.
Pritchard.
But yeah, no.
Yikes.
So he missed because so Conrad Thompson had the best joke about it that he had to miss stomping grounds, but it's okay. So because so did half the audience, which I thought was a really, really clever joke. But he apparently he had several teeth removed, but it was from what he said was one of the most disgusting rotted teeth that he's ever had to pull. Now I really hope
they can get bad.
Yeah, I really hope that is like Eric, Tony, and Conrad being dicks to Bruce, because that's very much a trope on those podcasts. But he said that for like every show, just like, oh yeah, no, Bruce like had it was emergency dental surgery.
Yeah. So, and like I said, that it's no joke.
But we hope you're healing because I like Bruce Pritchard a lot.
Yeah. I haven't listened to his stuff, but again, it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't wish ill on anybody. Like, and that sucks. I had one broken tooth, and that was like the worst experience of my life.
You ever go back and watch Brother Love stuff? Super underrated.
I don't go out of my way to watch it, but he'll pop up on things that I do go back to watch.
Yeah. Super underrated.
Yeah. And then the final news story before we move on, and this kind of ties into the Raw and SmackDown recaps. Vince called a meeting and has decided that no longer will, because in NFL, NBA, when the commercial break happens, there's a break in the action. Professional sports games are not played while the commercials are airing. As such, WWE, in wanting to legitimize itself in the eyes of the general public, will no longer have matches take place during commercial breaks. That said, in SmackDown, there was a match that happened that had a wrestling during the commercial break, but it was one of those breaks where it was picture in picture.
Yeah, the bug picture on the bottom.
So you have the smaller picture and then you could see the wrestling continued, which is why we have now seen an increase in 2 out of 3 falls matches, elimination matches, where after a fall, then we're going to stop and reset. Commercial happens, match restarts in progress. And they're finding weirder ways to get around that, because I think they're already realizing, like, holy crap, we are totally devaluing 2 out of 3 falls matches entirely, because now you are having the first fall take place in like 30 seconds. Look at the AJ Styles Ricochet match that happened on Raw. AJ Styles came out, they started, Good Brothers were out there, AJ demanded them leave and then restart the match.
Because they both entered, came back from commercial break, match started, pulled the leg, got kicked out, commercial, match finished.
And then, match restarted because AJ Styles demanded to have the entire match restarted. So it's not even like there was a break in the match. The first match ended, and then this one restarted, and he said they wouldn't restart it until they removed themselves from ringside.
It's such a weird choice.
I mean, on one hand, I get it.
I don't.
I get it in the sense that, you don't have to worry about, imagine watching an NFL game, coming back from commercial, and all of a sudden the other team has the ball.
Yeah.
What? That you played during the commercial? That's weird. So I understand it from a wrestling standpoint of, you don't want to have there be action that your audience at home doesn't see. The difference is it's because of this is how it's been for so long. So now we just are accustomed to it. What I think they should do is they need to be better about timing out which granted you're gonna that's not fair of me to say they need to be better, because at a certain point, like, if you want to have a good TV length match, usually there's like 2 or 3 commercial breaks. If there's like a 15-minute match,
that's a commercial break at least.
That's at least 1, if not 2.
Yeah.
So I don't think as an I don't know how you handle that from a business perspective. Do you then make like one extra long, like a 6-minute long commercial break on cable, where it's like, people are going to start tuning off because, this is nothing but commercials, I'm going to change the channel.
Yeah. So
I take it back. I don't have a solution, but this is weird.
I don't think there is a solution. I don't think it's broke.
Yeah.
Because you've been to multiple TV tapings. I've been to multiple TV tapings. The wrestling, whenever the show comes back, and
because they get out of the headlock.
Yeah. It's a goddamn rest hold.
Which,
and every once in a while you will see a momentum shift, but WWE is fairly good about showing this is what happened during commercial break.
Well, this is also what happens is, so bad guy's on the outside, good guy hits a suicide dive. They're celebrating. And we're going to be right back from commercial. Cut back. Bad guy has good guy in a headlock because there was one power move that happened, and then
there was some chicanery, and that
was the momentum shift. The difference being of, at least when you have that live audience there, which again, I don't see the difference between, other than this is just what we're accustomed to. I don't see the difference between NFL just here's just commercials and downtime, like, hey, go get a snack, go get drinks or whatever. Whereas WWE now, they're airing like WrestleMania commercials and stuff like that, when you then just have 2 wrestlers just standing in the ring staring at each other. People come out, try to cut apparently at this latest taping, the Iconics came out and tried to cut a promo. Owens tried to cut a promo, and it was just like, I don't know. It's such a weird dichotomy that I never thought about until this came out.
And it goes back to the
live sports versus wrestling.
Sports entertainment, yeah. Because and again, it goes back to nothing was broke.
Yeah.
Is this what Vince thinks is this is what's hurting the wrestling, like ratings, is there's people wrestling during a Viagra commercial. No, that's not what's hurting ratings, Vince. Like, if this is your grand idea, if you just had a random hair up your ass to be like, this is what I want to do today, like, there's something wrong.
I am actually kind of interested to see how long this like actually holds for.
Because like
I don't see it being a permanent thing because they are running out of ways of, doing this.
And do you want to give everybody a 6-minute match?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's 6 minutes, entrance, match, celebration. Mm-hmm. And that's in 6 minutes. So like you're really only wrestling for about 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah,
and again, and maybe I'm wrong, but like if I tune into a wrestling show, I want to see some wrestling.
In fairness, though, like on average, I know that a couple weeks ago was like the absolute worst that it's been, but like
they have been giving us matches.
If you look at the breakdown of Raw and SmackDown over the last years, I think you would be shocked at the percentage of wrestling versus non-wrestling that you get in those 3 hours or 2 hours. Like it's always been. I remember my great grandma like even telling me like in the paper, like someone broke down, I was like, yeah, you're only getting like 20% of that is actual wrestling. Everything else is storyline and interviews and promos and video packages and stuff like that. So it's, and again, I don't know how that was 15. No, that was probably, no, oh God, it was like 20 years ago.
I do remember there was a random Raw whenever my grandma's boyfriend Scott was still alive. And it started with Matt and Edge in a ladder match. But there was like 10 minutes of talking before the match or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he was so pissed.
It's Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Just throw the goddamn spirit bomb. Yeah. It's been 4 episodes. Yeah, so I don't know. It's a thing. Like I said, I'm curious to see how long it actually lasts. Because, again, I don't foresee it lasting. I give it like a year.
I hope it's less than that.
I mean, I hope it's less than that.
I hope it's like a month and a half.
But we'll see. It'll be interesting.
Because you will start wearing down those, like, it becomes the Teddy Long, you're going to be in a tag team match play.
Oh, we're restarting this match.
And you're going to face The Undertaker. Boy, I dated that reference correctly today.
You going 1-on-1 against Randy Orton. So, yeah, that does it for the news. We're going to move on to reviewing and recapping and previewing certain things in the wrestling world, starting off with Monday Night Raw. Actually, you know what? Let's go in order. We'll start with Impact on last Friday.
Okay, hit me with it.
You've talked about it. Have you started watching any Impact at all?
So I don't know how to. This is going to have to be an off-air conversation.
Okay.
Because I put Twitch on my PS4 because I didn't have it on there because I'm not a big Let's Player unless it's like Game Grumps. So I never had Twitch. I put it on there. Mm-hmm. And then I searched Impact. But I didn't know how to go back and watch past episodes. I ended up watching like 2 hours worth of knockout stuff because that's what was airing live.
Yeah.
So like I didn't feel like I was screwed out of anything. I just couldn't watch Friday's Impact.
I'm not 100% sure how to do it on the PS4, but yeah, we'll go over it. Because it might just be easier to pull up like either on your phone or like if you have a laptop or something.
And I can Chromecast it to my, because I have that piece of equipment.
Yeah, you can Chromecast Twitch stuff. So Impact kicked things off with Tessa Blanchard wrestled Jake Christ. She beat Jake. Don Callis had a really good call that I appreciated a lot of I think it was Callis correcting Josh Matthews saying that it was an upset. And he was like, no, it's not an upset. She's a great wrestler. And like, she doesn't give up a whole lot of size on a guy like Christ.
Yeah.
So,
because depending on who you're talking about in wrestling, there's a lot of smaller guys nowadays. And
yeah. And she's not there's no good way of saying it, but she's not like a petite woman. Like she's built like a brick shit brick house. There you go. She's strong. She ripped me in half. Not even try.
Yeah, she's Tully's daughter. I'm fucking scared of her.
Yeah. And she's also just badass.
Because she's Tully's daughter. She's a Blanchard. I'm scared of those.
Ever since I started following Impact more, like she has quickly become one of my favorite people on that roster.
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
Awesome. Then later on in the show, Sami Callihan issue a challenge to her for Slammiversary, which I believe is the 7th. I know it's not this weekend.
Is that going to be free ski on Twitch?
I don't think so. I think that is going to be a pay-per-view.
Okay.
But we'll look more into that. Yeah, so it's not this Sunday, but next Sunday, I believe. July 7th. She accepted online.
I like that.
Like on a Twitter interview, or like a Twitter video, something like that. So that's going to be a ignorant. That's going to be kind of a gross match, but cool. Killer Cross waterboarded someone.
Was it Trevor?
It was Sandman.
Fair.
Well, he said it was Sandman, and then
It could have been anybody.
well, Eddie Edwards goes back because he was masked. He had the bag on his head, and he started.
Did you not see the barbed wire tattoo on his arm? There's a couple of extenuating circumstances there.
Well, so Eddie Edwards then went backstage, tried to rescue him. It turns out it wasn't him. There was an ambush. There was an attack. So Killer Cross then like tried to eat his face. It was weird.
So, and again, I haven't watched Impact in quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen bits and pieces of Killer Cross. Mm-hmm. Not like the biggest fan of him, because he kind of wrestles a style that I don't. Not that I don't appreciate. I don't have a taste for it.
It's the methodical, kind of slower paced.
Yeah,
he's really good, and this character I think plays into it a lot more. It's kind of like why I like Randy Orton, because his character kind of plays into that wrestling style a little bit more. So I think if you watched more of his character work, you would really, really like him.
Appreciate his ring
because
work more.
He plays this character to perfection.
Well, now that you've kind of got me more and more on the I need to start watching Impact, I'm willing to say I will give it. Yeah. I'll be able to enjoy it.
This again, he started to eat Eddie Edwards' face, like it got weird, but he's the very cold, calculating, like serial killer. It's super cool. Okay. Like I dig him a lot. That happened. Ace Austin has been kind of like built up as kind of a bigger deal in the up and coming deal in the X division.
Okay. Thank
you. He cut a promo talking about how he's never been pinned or submitted, and issued like no one can beat me. And then TJP.
Oh, Suicide,
re-debuted. Formerly Suicide, formerly Manic. When they realized, hey, probably shouldn't call someone Suicide.
Yeah.
So he came out and beat Ace Austin. Weird choice.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it was that thing.
Build that up.
Well, and also like Ace Austin is kind of being presented as this bigger deal. So it's weird to have him lose like almost immediately after he started talking about it, which again, undefeated streaks are weird. Those can be tricky to do. So again, the follow-up is going to be.
You can always start a company, you start knowing one, it helps you out a whole lot, so don't paint yourself in a corner.
We got more of the Su Yung, Taya Valkyrie, Jessica Havoc, Rosemary, James Mitchell stuff. It's going to be a 4-way Monsters Ball at Slammiversary, I think is what got announced.
Oh god.
Gonna be ignorant.
I hate Monsters
Taya
Ball
Valkyrie
matches.
had to like approach Rosemary for backup because she's being freaked out by the Su Yung Jessica Havoc, because now they're actually focused on the Knockouts Championship instead of like Possession of Souls and like Undead Realm.
All right, fair enough. Is it a tag team monster?
No, I think it's a fatal 4-way.
Oh.
I think.
All right.
I don't hold me to that, but and then the other big thing of note is main event was Johnny Impact, Rich Swann, and Michael Elgin in a 3-way. Rich Swann got the pin over Johnny Impact because Impact and Elgin have kind of been like allies, but they've been feuding also at the same time. Impact announced that he's cashing in his win from the Ultimate X.
Elgin is or Swann is?
Impact. Johnny Impact.
Okay. Oh yeah, because he won it as the champion.
Yeah, he won it as the champion at the Lucha Underground crossover match. So he's cashing in his Ultimate X match against Rich Swann for the X Division Championship at Slammiversary.
Okay,
so
I can
cool
do
thing.
that.
And then after the match, Brian Cage made his big return to kind of come to the rescue of Rich Swann to stare down and attack Elgin. So Cage has been healthy for a while, but they've been keeping him off TV, playing up that injury angle from the Retribution or whatever the last show that they did was. So again, Impact continues to be impressed. It's been making a lot of really positive strides.
4 or 6 side ring.
6 side. Oh, I'm totally blanking on it. I think they brought back the 6.
Okay, I
literally just like was watching it and I'm
always intrigued by that.
And I can literally picture both sides, like both things now.
Because I mentioned it to Jeff. I was like, I would love to wrestle in a 6-sided ring. He's like, I hate to put together a 6-sided ring. So you know how annoying tightening ropes are?
Yeah, it would be that would be kind of a nightmare. Like keeping it maintained, but also like isn't it like a lot harder?
I
think that's what people have like talked about is how
it makes sense because the boards aren't even.
Yeah.
But like, and that's why I want to wrestle in one because I just want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I mean, there's a lot of things with like rings that you don't think about, where it's just like, oh, if it's a tall ring, it's gonna feel like this. If it's a short ring, it's gonna feel like this. If it's a big ring, it's gonna feel like this. If it's a small ring, it's gonna feel like this. Like, there's a lot of like factors.
They are. I think it is 4-sided.
Oh.
Yeah, it is four-sided.
Cool.
Yeah, they're back to the four-sided. I knew that was right. It's like, wait, but I can, that TNA, like the TNA Impact, that 6-sided ring is just so, like, it's so synonymous with them.
Because it was 6 and then 4 and then went back to 6.
Yeah, because I pulled up their YouTube because I cannot believe I, like, totally
it's not something you probably thought about.
Yeah, it's just not a thing that I've noticed.
It's kind of a dumb question to ask me, like, what shape is the ring?
I mean, no, it's like, I cannot believe I totally brain farted on that. Anyway, moving on, because we have hit an hour. Well, we're 30 seconds from hitting an hour. Monday Night Raw happened. I don't know, like, I don't want to be as down on stuff as I am, but, like, I don't care at all about the Corbin Evans, Rollins, Lynch thing. Like the winner take all match.
I like that concept. Like, I've always thought that's a neat concept to do, but they don't do a whole lot. Like, I would love for a tag team in the world champion or a tag team or the U.S. champion. And it'd be a winner take all, like,
against the tag titles.
Yeah, so like it'd be tag titles in the IC
like if
belt.
it was like if it was not Samoa Joe now. If it was like Ricochet and Seth Rollins versus the Revival. And winner take
and versus like
whoever gets
with McIntyre or something. So that way the IC or the US belt would change hands too.
Well, no, like it would anyway, because say Scott Dawson pinned Seth Rollins, then he won the Universal Championship, and then the U.S. title goes to.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Like winner take all, and then like whoever doesn't get the pin, like whoever pins the other person gets that championship.
Okay,
type deal, and then the other one just defaults to.
I'm talking about a straight up 3-on-3. If this team wins, the tag belt's changing, so does the secondary title or the main title. I've always thought that was like I've always thought of that concept, but there's a lot of flaws in that storytelling.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what's going on with this, where it's just like. But they're, I'm going to assume for real dating, because they are. Like, are you then going to make a storyline about how their relationship's on the hairs because Seth Rollins got pinned?
Well, I mean, they already did the thing on Monday where he tried to, like, pull her away, and she, like, shoved him out of the way to continue, and he was just like, all right, cool. Like, go for it. I tried.
Like, I did the bare minimum of effort to try to stop this.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's because I don't really care about Lacey Evans at all, and Corbin. I enjoy Corbin more than probably 90% of the population. But even now, I'm still just kind of like,
he's showing up a lot.
Yeah, it's like this is a little bit much.
Evans is one of those people that I'm a fan of if she's in a good match, because she had a match with Charlotte a couple weeks ago that was not great, and I was like, why would you air this? Why would you put this on? But like when she is on, her character work is pretty like. It's there.
And maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm just getting so worked by her character because I know people actually like that and I hate them. It reminds me of all of the people I very much dislike about living in this area.
Yeah. And it's like...
So it hits too close of a nerve.
She's a really good...
Bitch?
Yeah. Like I was going to say heel, but like a very good basic heel. Like it's...
And again, I'm speaking strictly character-wise. Like when I call her a bitch, I mean like her character is a bitch.
Yeah. I didn't like when she first came out and she was talking about curry favor with the management. And I'm like, so you're telling me you're fucking Stephanie? Because that's what it's like. The way you're saying it sounds like that. But like, I do like a lot of her stuff. She's really good on the microphone, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I don't know, but I enjoy her.
Yeah.
She does a good job of pissing off people in the crowd. Like she does the stupid,
the armpit thing.
Yeah. Like, I saw Jericho put Okada dollars down his crotch and throw them, and it's almost the exact same thing. So if I'm going to say Jericho gets a pass and she doesn't, I'm a hypocrite. But I like Lacey Evans a lot. I am not a fan of this boyfriend-girlfriend storytelling because, and I was saying it at Stomping Grounds, it may one day, because of the way the way the world is, this may age really poorly.
Yeah. I mean, and like just to jump ahead to Stomping Grounds, like I said at the beginning of the show, at least when they initially just say, like, oh, and she's dating Seth Rollins, like the first thing they talk about her, at least then that played into the story.
They paid it off.
Where she came out and saved him from...
I don't know. I don't like Seth Rollins after it because he said he would destroy anybody that got that shirt, and he had the chair right there.
Yeah, he could have. He's a coward. He's a coward and a liar. Seth Rollins heel confirmed.
That explains Twitter.
There was the tug of war between Strowman and Lashley.
I browned out during
that.
Just
big old fart noise. Strowman's beaten Lashley so many times. This is stupid. Samoa Joe immediately goes after Kofi Kingston, which I'm sure is going to be another 3 weeks, however long away we are from Extreme Rules, of Joe beating the absolute dog shit out of Kofi and then losing in the match. Like, he won't win. He's not going to win the championship. He might be the reason that Lesnar cashes in on Kofi, and that's about as interested as I'm going to be. They are coming dangerously close to me burning out on Joe, and that breaks my heart because he's so good.
Yeah,
he's so good. We mentioned the AJ Styles Good Brothers Ricochet thing. And then, for me, the biggest thing to come from Raw, and we got a little bit of it on SmackDown, was we starting to see the Firefly Funhouse puppets in the WWE universe. Super easy to miss. I would have missed them 100%. It was because someone posted the screenshots.
I noticed the Miz one.
As Miz,
because that was smack you in the face.
That one was pretty obvious.
But like Mercy being in the back of like Kofi.
Yeah.
That one I didn't see.
So Miz was walking down the hall, and then Abby the Witch kind of appears, peering from a corner behind him. Kofi was putting together his plate of pancakes, and very like small in the background, you see Mercy the buzzard appear. Then because on SmackDown, we got there was the segment between Carmella and Fire and Desire and Ramblin' Rabbit. That one's the hardest to find because he's already a much smaller puppet.
Yeah, Huskers the Pig was in one too.
I don't think he was.
I thought I saw him.
I didn't see any screenshots of him, and I didn't see anyone mention it specifically.
Okay,
so I'm assuming
not.
we missed him, or he just wasn't shown.
But
granted,
favorite.
he was one of the newer ones. These are the core three.
Yeah,
we've now gotten the core three. No new episode of Firefly Funhouse. So
I sat through 3 hours of Raw to be disappointed.
I think we're getting close. Getting close, and I'm so excited.
God, I hope they don't.
I want to see it. SmackDown. Nikki Cross beat Bayley, and that earns Alexa Bliss another chance at the SmackDown Women's Championship.
That's is very compelling story.
I mean, it blows my mind that this is the same company and players as This Is Your Life.
Yeah.
And, as initially I was pretty down on Nikki Cross dropping the crazy thing, like seemingly out of nowhere. They've done enough with it that I'm glad they did.
Yeah. Because she has more than one just
and
thing.
she's playing her part very, very well. So, I think that's going to add an interesting wrinkle too at some point where Cross is the one that beat Bayley. So we'll see what goes with that. Kofi Kingston beat Dolph Ziggler in a 2 out of 3 falls match, again, mostly because of the commercial thing, but now that seems to have put a final nail in that feud, thankfully.
Because the suicide dive didn't do it?
The tag teams, we got, seems like there might be like a 4-way match for the SmackDown titles because it's Bryan and Rowan lost to the New Day, which then that brought out Owens and Zayn, which then brought out Heavy Machinery, and they all kind of had their big thing. Someone finally seemed to have knocked on the door of Aleister Black because he's talking about no one's willing to fight him. I can't tell if they're turning him heel, if he's face. I don't know what's going on.
Bray.
I think it's Orton.
Probably Orton, but I want it to be Bray.
Did you see who tweeted knock knock?
Was it Orton?
Nope.
Who was it?
Better.
Who?
Who's WWE's best kept secret?
Oh, God.
Yeah. Give me that Buddy Murphy. Give me that.
I was thinking of a more ridiculous name to like piss you off.
Oh, no.
To be like R-Truth. He's going for the 24/7 champion.
Oh, we did get multiple new 24/7 champions, but then it just reverted back to R-Truth.
Yeah.
Including EC3, so maybe he's not buried. He's a former 24/7 champion now. And he didn't even pin R-Truth. He pinned Cedric Alexander.
Yeah.
So now Cedric Alexander is the one who apparently is about to get fired.
I got his elite. I'm happy.
And then the other thing was they asked Finn Balor what's next for him, and Shinsuke came up and two-sweeted the IC belt. So, cool.
I need to start watching SmackDown again.
Again, it's a wrestling podcast. I'm the only one that watches the
Whoa, hey, sir. Sir. Whenever a big New Japan show shows up, I watch that shit live.
Then we have... God, we need a Stomping Grounds happened.
It was all right. It was
really
a good show.
Really good
minus
show.
The main event, in my opinion.
Main event wasn't great. There was, but again, that's just the heel. That's the classic heel ref stuff.
Yeah, and it was
shit! Biggest thing that we missed on Raw is Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre attacking Roman Reigns, and Undertaker makes the save.
Oh yeah, because I mentioned Taker, and I said, "Hey, this is a good week."
That's going to be the tag match at Extreme Rules. Is the random universal universe mode.
Yeah.
Tag team main event that got
you hit randomize and saw
to prove that Undertaker's like, nope, my last match will not be that Saudi match, and it's a good thing he's being protected in a tag team match, so he won't have to do as much.
Yeah.
Stomping Grounds again, really good. Cage match was really good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. That was a very innovative way to end a cage match.
Yeah.
That was reinventing the wheel, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, and it also kind of played to Ziggler, like, no, you dove, like, you couldn't beat me.
Yeah.
You couldn't beat me. Other things that stood out, I enjoyed the hell out of the SmackDown Tag Team match, but I think that was mostly because Jesse Kimball and his obsession with Otis.
Yeah. I told Sadie that's his new favorite tag team, and she's like, why? And I'm like, Otis, and she was like, that's fair.
I don't know if I've ever gotten as much joy out of anything as Jesse got just watching Otis walk.
Try to put his arms down.
Yeah, I was very happy that we could be there for that moment. Anything else like really stand out?
Ricochet Joe was really good.
Ricochet Joe was very good.
It was a good show. I just did not like that main event.
Yeah, the main event was down.
And
I was also very surprised that Ricochet won. I was like, oh yeah, this is they're actually letting Joe do something with the US. Oh, no, okay. 1, 2, 3. All right, there it is.
All of the matches were good. But it all goes back to I really, 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 really hate the story they're telling with Becky and Rollins dating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because again, why did the dick pics get released? Oh, he was cheating on his fiance. Like, and I'm not saying that he hasn't changed. I'm just saying, like, it's a really weird basket to put your eggs in.
Yeah, it's anytime, like, it is one of those things where there's always that level of uncomfort when they bring in real world.
Yeah, because it could go poorly.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to eventually happen.
When DDP's WWE debut was against Taker and his wife, who is it, Michelle McCool?
Yeah.
Like, it's shit like that I'm like, why do we keep going to this? At least Claire Lynch.
It was fake.
That was all work. Like, there was no aspect. Like, AJ was very happily faithful to his wife the entire time.
The one time that they did it really well, I will say, like real world stuff, is whenever I can't say they did it really well because we never really got the reveal because he got hurt. But Kurt Angle finding out about Jason Jordan.
Oh yeah, because it's his shoot son.
Yeah, that was really. I thought that was kind of neat. Anyway, that was Stomping Grounds. Check it out. There was definitely some highlights there. The Cruiserweight triple threat was really, really good.
I need to go back and see that one. Yeah,
that was on the pre-show. That was really good.
Congratulations to Drew Gulak.
Yeah, Drew Gulak.
With that beard, he looks like oh god, what's his name? Silas Young a little bit, like in motion, like it's there a little bit.
I mean, if you say so. This Saturday is AEW presenting the Fyter Fest. I'm really interested to see how this one is because apparently there's like a lot more going on with like video game stuff. So
yeah, it's a video game convention.
I'm curious to see if that plays into the show at all. This is a stacked ass card though. Like when I looked it up because I didn't realize it was already this Saturday, and because I'm so far behind on like being the elite and road to these events. But Michael Nakazawa versus Alex Jabali in a hardcore match. Cody versus Darby Allin. That's going to be ignorantly good. The Elite, Kenny Omega, Matt and Nick Jackson going up against the Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid. That's going to be, again, just stupid. John Moxley versus Joey Janela. John Moxley's first singles match for AEW after making his debut.
I think it's his first match in the States.
Yeah, that could be true.
Because his first 2 matches were in New Japan.
And that was in Japan. So look out for that one. Fatal 4-way match with Adam Page versus Jimmy Havoc versus Jungle Boy versus MJF. Christopher Daniels versus Sema. Yuka Sakazaki versus Rio versus Nyla Rose in a triple threat match. Kylie Ray versus Leva Bates with Peter Avalon. Really excited to see that. Mostly because I'm really excited to see what Leva Bates decides to wear. Like if she's going to cosplay anything.
Well, she's the librarian, so.
Did you see her cosplay as Blue Cassidy?
With Orange Cassidy?
Yeah.
Yeah. That made me happy.
And then there's a triple threat tag team match. The winner of this match will then get a match at All Out. The winner of the match at All Out gets a first round bye in the tag team tournament. So you have to win 2 matches to not wrestle 1 match. Okay.
All right, gives you a reason to want to win.
But SoCal Uncensored, Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian versus Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Ken, and then the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. I very much look forward to whatever Player Uno, Player Dos are named now making an appearance here.
Yeah. The Dark Order.
Dark Order, yep. I was going to say, I knew they got their name, but I completely am blanking on it.
Because I said the Black Order, and I'm like, that's Marvel.
No, yeah, it's Dark Order. So that is it for Fyter Fest. Again, that is this Saturday.
It is free with Bleacher Report Live.
Yeah.
From what I saw, because I'm not, unless I'm giving them money and I was unawares, it is free on Bleacher Report Live. I couldn't find it on Fight. I feel like that's going to be an international thing.
I was going to say, because I know for sure UK and the European market can order it off of Fight.
Yeah. But it looks like, I mean, it's as easy if you have a Chromecast on your TV. It is easy as downloading the app, searching it,
making an account.
Yeah, an account which is free, from what I remember.
Yeah.
And then just pressing that little TV at the top.
Yeah, so my understanding of it, and I 100% could be wrong. I thought you had to pay for Bleacher Report, like you have to pay for WWE Network. But yeah, if it's free to sign up, and then this is just being put on for free, that's awesome. So it's going to be a great card. It'll be really. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. Their first 2 shows have been killer, so. Super looking into that. And then to close us out here, before we get to CCW, I do want to take a real quick moment, point out that we are now available on Spotify. If you're listening to us on Spotify right now, thank you very much. We are glad to have you on board. If you're not listening to us on Spotify, go to Spotify and just hit follow. Because any sort of metric that shows that people are engaged with us and are downloading our episodes, listening to us, that helps us out tremendously, and we greatly appreciate it. Of course, you can also do patreon.com/Podzilla1985. For $1, you get the pre-shows from every show that we put out, including all of the past episodes. And there is now the option of just putting that Patreon feed into your RSS. So you don't have to worry if you don't like going to Patreon's website and dealing with that. You can bypass that, and it's just really, really easy. So, thank you to everyone who already donates, and it helps us out a lot. It means the world to us. And even just even if you don't want to do any of that, that's great. We appreciate you just listening. That said, we're going to move on to our final topic of the night, which is, of course, CCW. That is Cape Championship Wrestling. It is the company that we, all of us at Podzilla work at, or all of us at PWU work with. We put on Inferno 3 this past Saturday. Really great show. It was a lot of fun. I did kind of the rundown on the Cape Championship Wrestling Facebook page. I need to get my notes pulled back up.
Oh, they're right there, actually. The piece of paper.
Score.
Yeah, so I'll talk for this 3 seconds while you're grabbing the paper, and you're back.
Mission accomplished. It was a really good time. We typically have a lot of fun with CCW. Blake Christian and James Brady put on a hell of a match.
Yeah, I watched that with Marco. We were sitting at the merch tables.
I was very impressed by both of those guys. Blake Christian I knew a little bit more about just because he's been around a little bit more of a wider net. He's been
in more places.
He's been more places than I think James Brady has, or at least that I've seen. But I liked both of those guys. Blake Christian,
I liked them both.
Both of them were super nice, super cool. I got a picture with Blake just because it was I get the feeling you're gonna be big, real big. So I'm just gonna shamelessly I'm gonna get on the ground floor.
I liked James's yelling in the middle of the match. I know it's a really weird thing to say that you like.
No, his crowd engagement was fantastic.
Yeah, he was really good at getting the crowd.
And they played off of each other very well in the sense that Blake was the underdog, kind of fighting back up.
Yeah.
But that's hard to do if you don't have a villain there to engage the audience and work off of. And James Brady was that in spades. So super dug that match. Dexter Roswell and Deacon Cash had a really good match.
It's my brother.
We love Dexter.
It's my older brother. It's my older wrestling brother.
We can't talk well enough about Dexter and the steps that he's taken and the strides that he's made. No pun intended. You know what? Fuck it. Pun intended. And then Deacon Cash, I also really enjoyed. We've only seen him twice now. But
I love him. I think he's great.
Yeah, I'm super impressed with him.
It's a standard, his first match, he got called in to do a tag match with some random dude that he's never worked with before. Fortunately, I think Dexter could team with a broom.
Yeah.
And make it work, but when you were teaming with somebody that's Cash is a very capable wrestler.
Yeah.
And I got to see bits and pieces of it as it was going on. I didn't get to see all of it yet. But they had a really good tag match the month before together, and then the singles match, from what I heard, all accounts, was a great match. So
really good, really enjoyable. Like I said, we always talk about Dexter, so I want to give props to Deacon as well. Hope to see more of him in the future. Damone and Justin Smart with Dangerous Donnie 6 as the special guest ref. Donnie's the nicest dude.
He can sew.
It's amazing. It is amazing that him and Justin are friends. I don't get it, but all right, we're moving on with it.
Donnie's such a good person.
Yeah.
That's a bonus.
The match itself was a lot of fun. I loved the interactions between Justin and Donnie, and this match and the women's championship match might have been two of my favorite to call because I could actually pepper in like facts from their past, and because there is such a wealth of like. There is such a wealth to be able to tap into.
There's a story, yeah.
And both of those matches I had, like, they were willing to go into those details with me. So I could kind of continue that story and play into what was happening in the ring. So Shannon, of course, did great. Because, I don't know if he's going to listen to this or not, but, he's really kind of, especially with everything going on this weekend and, how frustrated and tired he was with the move and not having furniture and all of that bullshit.
Yeah.
You couldn't have told, backstage, I'm sure you could tell. But the fans, I have no doubt, had no idea
he was just
that
the
was going on.
Regular dickhead he always is.
Because he came in and he did the work and it was awesome. Speaking of the women's match, Seisheen defeating Savannah Stone. Both of them have just been nothing but pleasures to work with. I love both of them so much, from competitor standpoint. So talented, so good, especially for how short of a time they've both been doing this. And Savannah really helped work with me about her backstory with Seisheen. And so, because this is kind of like a match coming in cold, because Seisheen's been around for a few months now as our champion.
Savannah's been here once or twice.
Has made a couple of appearances, but she hasn't been here in a while. So there's really no, this is kind of a fresh matchup.
Yeah.
Coming with nothing really to work with. So she helped me out tremendously in being able to fill in gaps with she's actually the reason Seisheen wears the mask, and there's stuff going on in St. Louis and other promotions that because they just travel together so much and they're friends, they're enemies. It's I loved being able to sink my teeth into that. And so, props to them for giving me that to work with. And again, just another really, really good match. They have really good chemistry together.
Oh yeah, they're both amazing. They're talents.
Yeah. Billy Hills and Logan against Austin and Hollis. I said it on CCW Live, and that was probably the most character breaky I ever got on a CCW Live. But that double team of the powerbomb up disaster kick into the best pile driver ever.
Yep.
Holy shit! That was awesome. That was awesome.
You have 4 people in the ring that are very capable.
Yeah.
Austin, who is... I have no issue putting everybody over in this match. Austin is the best. He's the best of the best for a reason. Hollis, even though he's held every belt at CCW, I feel like he very much also has that underrated status of I don't think people understand how good he is.
He wrestles like he has a chip on his shoulder.
Every time.
Because you're exactly right. It is that thing of he is the only Triple Crown CCW champion that we have, but it is easy to think about to overlook him. You could make that argument that he's kind of overlooked or underappreciated, whatever. And not from a booking standard standpoint or anything,
but just the way the fan reaction. Yeah. He gets a reaction, but he's not not one of the names that. But he's been there since day one.
Yeah.
But he's so he is so good, and he has gotten so good from then to now. Because I've been in the ring with him 2 times.
He's another one his same as Dexter. Watching him progress and watching him learn stuff every time he goes out there is amazing.
Yeah, and then Billy. It's one of my wrestling dads.
And your stepdad.
Yeah, my legit stepdad. Yeah,
Shootski.
He's amazing. I've been in there with a whole lot. And then Logan he's a different little animal is what I was trying to say. A different little animal than Marco, because I've been around him a whole lot. He wants to wrestle a different style than Marco.
Yeah.
And he
which is smart.
that. Yeah, but does.
Also he plays well to his skill set. He knows he can't do the high flying stuff that Marco can do, but he can outstrike Marco, and that's where he kind of puts his focus.
And that's for real too, because he's like a multiple.
Yeah, he's a legit black belt.
Yeah, that's that was just our all-star match right there, where it was just we're gonna put as many people as we can in a match, and we're gonna see how good it can get. And it was a good match.
He's a second-degree belt, black belt in Taekwondo.
Yeah, I knew it was multiple degrees.
Yeah.
Because I've done practice stuff with him, and he'll start throwing kicks. I'm no, I'm not. Just in case you accidentally glance me, I'm not getting kicked in the face.
In case that muscle memory kicks in of just no competition.
And then my head's on the second row before the show's even started. But no, I love Logan to death. Everybody in that match.
I feel like it's been a minute since we've seen it, but the Pledge of Allegiance spot Billy does. Still one of my favorite things.
Spot blows. Taking that in Indiana one time, and it was not a great time.
And then he had the air horn too. So there was a lot of fun.
I almost shoved that up.
I loved this match. Jake Durden versus Matthias was everything I wanted it to be.
Broke the ring.
Legit broke the ring. Like, there were pieces. Like, I called it, was like, I think he's holding pieces of the ring, thinking that was a work. Like, he's, whatever. No, legit. Like, there were, like, bolts and springs and shit.
You had to tell me.
Flew off of this mat.
You had to tell me that's why they were sitting there.
Yeah.
Because I got mad.
I was like, where did this come from? It's like, oh, no, they broke the ring. It was awesome. Also, I said it on CCW Live, and I want to say it now because I think he's more likely to hear it here, or it will get back to him. I talked to him before the show because he gave me shit about. I
was standing there. Yeah,
I didn't know what type of black belt Logan was, so I just made a pull and I pulled wrong. So he came up and he's like, someone needs to teach you the differences, blah blah blah. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to find Logan and find out exactly what he is, and I'm going to find out what type of black belt Matthias is.
A scary one.
A scary, yes, that is true. So again, legit black belt in Sambo and Muay Thai, and then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, so
which he trained under Hoist Gracie.
Yep.
When I typed that into my phone to have my notes ready, it auto-corrected Hoist to Joyce. And I can genuinely not remember if when I brought that up on commentary, if I said Hoist or Joyce.
Portuguese, it's fine if you mess it up.
Because I was in the middle, like we were in the heat of the moment. There was 3 of us up there, so I'm trying to hear this other person. Like I was moving quickly, and I don't think I second guessed what I was just reading, even though I should have. Mm-hmm. So if I said Joyce Gracie, I apologize. Like, understand that I know I screwed up.
I think it is.
And I will try to make that not happen again.
Oh.
That said, if I did say Hoist Gracie and I got it right, you can disregard this entire 2 minutes of conversation we just had.
God, I think it is spelt Joyce Gracie though.
Yeah, and like I said, I may have just it just may have been a stupid brain fart mispronunciation.
Oh, it's Royce Gracie because it is Hoist.
Shit,
but it's Royce.
Oh,
yeah.
Then I've been just super fucking it up all over the place, and I'm just gonna step into.
Because I knew it was because it's a different language, and it's a different the vowels are different.
Then never mind.
But it is Hoist, but
then I'm just a super special level of idiot.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I really hope you said Hoist Gracie.
I don't even give a shit anymore. I fucked that up so far beyond repair. I screwed up my apology in knowing that I screwed it up.
Speaking of fucking up.
So that match was awesome. Then you had your match with Heath.
Yeah.
You did have the fuck up. You fell off the second rope.
I was so.
That was the other thing I thought about doing in the intro was.
That's what I was expecting.
It's the big D, but the D stands for damn, you landed right on your face. But instead I didn't go with that. I enjoyed this match. I think yes, you fucked up. It's wrestling.
Yeah,
everyone screws up.
I was mad for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
and it took Tyler. It took Heath saying dude, it's fucking wrestling.
And you were in there with someone like Heath who could cover it very, very well. I would like to think that when it comes out and the comment, because I, covered it, was like, oh, you're going out of your wheelhouse, because you have to pull out all the stops against someone who knows everything you're going to do. I tried to cover it for you, but it didn't. I don't think it impacted the quality of the match at all.
No, just my head.
You guys picked it up right there and just continued like nothing had happened. It was really, really good. I also think that's a testament to how good Heath is.
Oh yeah, Heath's the best because it's one of those we had that entire spot we knew what was boom 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 boom, and I was ready to go boom 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 boom, but then I went boom too hard on my face.
Yeah,
and I was rattled. I don't think it was a concussion. So don't worry about that. But I was shook. Because I landed, if you watch the video, landed directly on my forehead. Mm-hmm. And I rolled because I was going to punch him. Before I could even get there to do something to him, he already had me into a move. And by the time he hit that, he was telling me what to do to fix it.
Yeah.
So he was, he wasn't a step ahead, he was 3 steps ahead. Because he had the cutoff after I messed up, tell me what to do after after he hit me, and then tell me, all right, you're going to hit this, pin me, and then we're going to go into what's going to happen next. Mm-hmm. That's how good he is. Because he didn't know I was going to mess that up. None of us knew that rope was going to slip out from under me. Mm-hmm. And he had, it's that was what was supposed to happen. Because, somebody said because, Sadie, she was recording it and thought I got hurt. She was like, oh, no. And somebody was like, no, he was supposed to do that. But that person didn't know the match at all. Right. So I was like, why would you trust that person? But they were she was like, no, but it looked like it was supposed to happen because you got up and kept going. Right. And it's a testament to how good Heath is.
It's one of those things where Heath is one of those people that I'm that imposter syndrome kicks in because it's just Yeah, I don't like. He probably hates me. I bet he hates me.
Oh, I bet he hates me.
I also get the feel, but it's also that thing of it's just like everyone in the stride. Like I'm sure the Stride locker room probably hates me. Other than like you and Billy and Garrett and Lane and like the people that come to CCW regularly.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm just in my head. I don't know why. I know it's probably not true. Like, it's probably only like a quarter of the locker room hates me. But like people like Jay and Tony and like Chris Hargis, like.
Oh, Tony loves you, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we've had conversations about you.
But it's just I don't know why. Like, it's just the weirdest thing where it's just I have that weird just mental. It's like, oh, see, I don't go like because I don't go to Stride as much anymore because I've stopped going. Like they're mad at me for not they're mad at me for not going. Like they like Dalton so much more than me. Like and that's it's fine.
I'm the whipping boy. It's fine
when you're there all the time.
Yeah.
But again, it's just it's that weird just like mental block of like allowing me to think that I do a good job and that no people like even if they're just indifferent, that doesn't mean they dislike you.
Yeah, but no, but going back to it though, like I watched it back on my phone, and I'm really proud of that match, even barring how hard I messed up because like. I've never seen. I told him this before. It's like I've known you for like 3, and we've known him for 3 years. I've known Heath for 3 years, and I've never seen him work heel.
That was one of the points.
Because like I told him because we were in the bathroom, we were talking about. I was like, it pisses me off. I've known you for 3 years. I've been watching you wrestle for 3 years. I've never seen you work heel. The first time you work heel, and he was like, you get to feel it instead of see it. And I'm like, yeah. And the dickhead choked me out with electrical tape because like he called it in the back. He's like, I'll probably choke you with my tape, and I completely forgot. And then I feel it come up, and I'm like, what is he doing? Why?
Why is he actually choking me?
But yeah, no, I really enjoyed that match, and
I'm enjoying seeing Heath work heel too. Like I would like to see more of that.
He's a dick, and I love it.
Wise Church versus Brandon Barbwire and Joey O'Reilly. The Wise Church missed weren't there last month. They took their month-long sabbatical, came back better than ever, won the CCW Tag Team Championships, and then Brandon Barbwire attacks his tag team partner Joey O'Reilly. Missouri's Most Malicious is back. I don't know how we're supposed to react to it. I'm on board for it, though. And I really want to see Joey O'Reilly versus Brandon Barbwire.
Same.
Like, that's a match I want to see. And I'm very excited for. I'm also very interested to see who's next in line against the Wise Church. Because I love them very, very much. Yeah. I have to dislike them on commentary and on CCW Live. But, this is the Schutzke brother.
I recently watched the Me and Austin match episode. Because I just wanted to see that match. Because I was like, I was really, like, bad. I was not a good wrestler, like, and I'm still not good, but like, if I could take like even the 8 months now that I had then, like, I bet that would have been a really, really good match. But it starts with the Wise Church just shitting on you, and it's just like, wish he would use the toothpaste and the toothbrush and just get all that in there.
I do love the like, and me even just like getting up and walking away, and they're still just like,
and Sarah comes by because that's still probably my favorite chaos moment.
Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
They're so much fun. I'm excited to see.
And if you're and Sarah, if you're listening, we miss you.
Yes, I was actually just thinking that it's like because I saw Megan at the show and it felt like I hadn't seen her in forever. Even though I feel like that's probably not true.
It's been about a month,
but it felt like it had been forever since I'd seen her. And then like as I was leaving, I was like, oh, I miss Sarah.
Yeah, because
I think she when I was looking at my phone, like sitting in my car, like I think she had like she popped up on like my timeline.
Yeah, I don't know if it was because she was at Super Show because I was sitting by her throughout Super Show because I was selling gimmick, and then I think there might have been a Stride show where she was at like one of our benefit shows that she was like hanging out there. But it's been forever. I'll text her every once in a while. But Sarah, if you're listening, and I hope you still do, we miss you.
We love you.
And I know Allie feels the same.
I was gonna say I understand if you're not because you heard Allie wasn't on the show. So you turned off?
Yeah.
I get that. And then also, if you are listening, please tell Roger that I'm just going to get Royce Gracie tattooed on my forehead backwards. So every time I look in the mirror, I will never get that wrong again. Because legitimately...
Just take the R off because you will call him Royce.
I'm not going to lie. Knowing that I not only got it wrong, probably on commentary, but got it wrong on both apologies for it, I'm more mortified about that than when I dropped the F-bomb on CCW Live.
It's fine.
This is the thing because I'm also like in kind of panic mode that Roger's gonna hate me. Like he's going to listen to that and just be like, "What is wrong with you?"
I've been friends with Roger for 2 years and he still hates me.
I have too, but like,
and he still hates me.
But he's always playful about it. Like now he's gonna get scary about it. And then the main event. Stop rambling about my idiocy. Jackson Crowley, Marco Stunt. Everything that I said on CCW Live. That was not in character. That was something that I could say truthfully. This is two people who wanted to bring the absolute best out of each other, and they fucking succeeded. Marco, this is a side of Marco that we have never seen before at CCW, at least.
Yeah.
This was intense. This was brutal. The actual welts that you could see, like, forming at the time.
Dude, fucking Jackson.
They left nothing out. They left everything in that ring.
Yeah, so I walk by Jackson, and so the fucking day starts whenever I see Marco, and he comes up to me, he's like, hey, what's going to happen in my match? And he tells me the balcony. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dude, I said it. I was like, you don't have to do that. And he was like, well, we want to. I'm like, there's no talking him out of it. So I go up to Jackson a little bit later in the night or day, and I'm like, I gave him a hug, and I said, I don't care what you do. I want both of you walking at the end of this match. So he said, oh, we'll try our best. I was like, all right, cool. So we get through the back. I finally get back there at the end of the night to like kind of throw some stuff in my bag before I have to start tearing down the ring. And Jackson comes up to me and just says, well, that door spot didn't suck as bad as I thought it was. And I'm looking at his left side, and it's just scraped to shit. Because, like, I've went through a table before. And I went through it with kind of like what Jonathan was wearing. Mm-hmm. And I had, like, my elbow was still messed up. I still have a mark on my wrist from it. And that was a month ago. Mm-hmm. I went through one at, like, 5 feet off the ground. Because it was just from the apron to the floor. They went off 10 to 15 foot. Yeah, that was through doors. We had a gimmicked table. Mm-hmm. They went through like a closet door.
Closet door, yeah.
They went through like 2 or 3 of them.
2. It was 2. Because
3 of them would have been extra padding.
Because here's my thing. They before the show, like, I didn't talk to either of them about what they were planning. But I can't remember if it was Papa or Mama Stunt mentioned that I'm not thrilled about what they have going on, because they were talking to Jason.
Yep.
And when they said it, they looked at the balcony, and I was like, oh, well, fuck this. So which side, like, where are you guys coming from? Because I'm right there. Like, I'm directly underneath the balcony.
Yeah.
And I need to know if, like, I need to move some equipment. Like, what's going to happen? And what I was told is it was going to be a stack of 4.
That's what I was told too. And then whenever I didn't see 4.
And then because it was just the 2 side by side, not even on top of each other.
Yeah,
side by side.
Well, Marco's small, but he's not that small.
I legitimately believe, and again, I will not, I will not forget the sound that it made.
It was a shotgun
when they went through and landed. I will not forget what the sight of what that splintered those doors looked like. Like the remains of those, just like it almost looked like wood chips that you would find in a playground, except not safe. It was brutal, and it was a fantastic match. Nothing but respect to both of them, and appreciation, to both of them. Yeah, and I just it was insane. It was an absolutely insane main event. It's another one of those where if you weren't there live, you truly missed out on something special. Not including what happened after, where Marco was very emotional, said his goodbyes, because this was, as we found out, Marco's final match with CCW. And I'm not going to get into it again on the show, because I did it on CCW Live and I almost didn't make it through. But Marco was cool to us and was nice to us before he even, like, needed to be professionally.
Yeah, I mean, even before his first match at CCW.
Yeah, oh yeah, like that's what I mean. Like, before he had any reason, to be as cool to us as he was, other than just that he's a good dude. Him, Logan,
Lori
Dwindle, like they're
Maddie, like
all of them, all of the stunt family, and I include Maddie in that.
Yeah.
It's just they've always been so nice to us and so kind to us, and to see Marco reach these levels of success that he's gotten has been amazing. Like, I am so unbelievably happy and proud of him and excited to see what comes next for him. Am I bitter? Not bitter. I'm selfish in the sense that we don't get to see him at CCW all the time now. Because he always is one of the highlights, either in the ring and backstage. He's always awesome. So I selfishly, like, I'm sad that we're not going to get to just keep him.
Yeah. And it's one of the,
but I'm very excited for what comes next.
Yeah. And there was so many, like, he is one of those people that has helped me out a lot along, like, ring wise. Mm-hmm. Just because whenever he broke his leg, he would still show up to CCW shows because he loved CCW that much.
Yeah.
And so he couldn't do anything. I'm going to train guys. So he starts working with like people, and he started making me better. And he always told me, he was just like, I feel like I'm hard on you. And I'm like, no, you're the right level of dick to me that like,
right. Cause you don't want to be coddled, cause that's not how you don't learn.
And like, for some reason, I would always go up to him and ask him about my matches. And he was so unapologetic about everything. Mm-hmm. And just told me how bad I sucked sometimes. And it's one of those, like, I have people like that in the back, but like, I could tell he truly cared about me. And then like, I've seen him talk to other people that way. He's just one of those people that really cares about wrestling. In a world where people don't really have to care about you, he was somebody that actually genuinely cared about me and how I was and how I am in the ring. And I'm super fucking grateful that I had a match with him. And it was my first Super Show. Like, I got to do a tag with him. That meant the absolute world to me that I was put with him, because I knew like, this is a big deal. And it's weird because like, he's one of the bigger names on indie wrestling right now, but he's just our buddy. And I got to tag with him. And not a lot of people get to say that. Like, they got to wrestle with guys that wrestle for AEW. I got to say that. But it was my friend, like, first and foremost. And I'm going to miss having him around. Like,
I still want to beat his ass in Smash, though.
We got a couple wins on him.
I picked up the sticks against Calvin after months of not playing, and I beat him.
I'm willing to say if we text him online, like if he's at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm gonna miss him a whole lot. Like,
yeah, no, it's super cool.
Yeah.
It's happy news. It's sad news, but Marco, the moral of the story is Marco is fucking awesome.
Oh, the places you'll go.
And then I lied when I said that was the last thing, because just real quick, I do want to mention
Shannon got his ass code breaker.
I mean, Shannon took the code breaker. He came out with, like, that was the feel good send home moment of the bad guy getting some.
Not Marco's like goodbye speech. Nope, we don't want to end saddles. Go beat the shit out of Shannon.
Yep. And he took.
I was doing that shit before it was cool.
Shannon took it like a champ too.
Yeah,
but the thing that I wanted to mention is we did the 10 bell salute
for Psycho.
For Psycho, and that was a experience that is going to stick with me for a very long time.
I'm happy I was standing by you because I almost cried.
Yeah, I it was the same kind of thing. I wasn't gonna, because again, we didn't know Psycho all that well. He's someone who, you know, our friends were very close to.
Yeah.
So when our friends hurt, we hurt. I wasn't planning on like doing the mat slam, but when I saw other people start to do it, I just like immediately was just like, nope, yep, here we go. Like, I'm going all in on it. Just because it felt right, and it was just, I don't know. It was a truly, I think Shannon put it best, like a very somber but very humbling experience as well.
Yeah, because you figure out exactly how much like people mean.
Yeah.
Like
it is a family. Like, professional wrestling is a family.
Yeah.
So, so that said, that we were gonna do it. We went way over.
Hour and a half.
Hour 40.
God.
Yeah, I know.
You're welcome.
If you stuck through us for all of this, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate you. Remember, giving us a high rating, subscribing to us, even on the platforms you don't necessarily use. It does huge for the algorithms and the metrics, to get us into the ears of other people. Also, just, sharing us and telling us about, telling other people about us goes a long way as well. And then, of course, if you want to go above and beyond, there is that patreon.com/podzilla1985. $1 gets you every pre-show that we do, usually about 15 minutes, anywhere from like 10 to 30 sometimes, depending on, we just goof around, no specific topic. It's usually just the mic checks.
Yeah.
So we will for sure be back on Sunday for Nerd Up. I am not 100% sure again about what Thursday's going to bring as far as After Dark. I know they missed last week because of the move, and that is still a thing in progress. So maybe we'll throw together something next, like another just random weird thing. Who knows? But stay tuned. If not, we will see you for sure on Sunday. Thank you again, everybody, for listening to us just bullshit about this really stupid thing that we just care way too much about.